Aloha again, everyone, and welcome to our October 2021 West Hawaii Market Report. We're going to go over some of the data that we have here in West Hawaii. We're also going to talk about some of the trends that we're seeing nationally and some national real estate news that's going to have an impact on you pretty much no matter where you are. I'm Mike Drutar. I'm the principal broker and owner of NextHome Paradise Realty in Kailua, Kona, and I'm excited to bring you the numbers that we have this month. Okay, starting in North Kona, we had 51 houses sold in October. That's actually down 16 from October of last year, so a big drop off there. The median price was $970,000. That's an increase of 11.6%. Average days on market was 7 days on market, and that's down 9 days from last year. The North Kona condo market had 40 units sold, and that's down 3 from last year. The median price was $400,000, up 7.82%, and median days on market was 7 days, and that's down 23 from October of last year. Now, these numbers are going to look a little bit different, and why is that? It's because last year in October, we weren't able to do short-term vacation rentals, and those are primarily done in condos in North Kona. At that time, we still had a lot of travel restrictions, and so people weren't able to rent out their condos, and so people weren't buying condos to rent them out because they couldn't make any money. Things have totally changed, and now people can rent those condos out, and that's why the days on market has gone down so much. For the South Kohala residential market, we had 20 houses sold last month, and that's down 14 from October of last year. Our median sales price was $837,000. That's up 17.06%. And the median days on market was a little bit higher. It's out at 23 days on market. That's down 10 from last year. And then finally, the South Kohala condo market, 29 condos sold, down 3 from last year. The median price spiked, and I don't think we should look at this as a long-term trend, but it spiked at $1.23 million. It's an increase of 71.19%. Median days on market was 4 days, down 25. So the reason we're seeing such big numbers in that direction up in South Kohala is that is almost exclusively high-end rental condos. And so you're seeing a lot of people choose to be out there as their second home or as an investment property. There's a lot of money being poured into real estate right now all over the country, and a lot of it's cash, not as much as financed as you might think. So people are putting their money in areas where they can park it and still get a bit of a return. And the short-term vacation rentals are one way to do that. And that's one of the other reasons that we're seeing prices go up so much, and we're seeing so much demand in the South Kohala condo market. We're going to put up our combined chart for the residential market, North Kona and South Kohala here. And we see that we are finally starting to, it looks like, bottom out here in terms of units sold. We spiked up in April of 2021 with 105 sales, and we've gone down every single month since then. But now you can see that we have 73 combined sales in October, which was the same as September. So we're starting to see this little, you can see the shallowing going on right here. My hope is that we're starting to pick up again and have a few more properties to sell. As prices continue to rise, it becomes more appealing to sell. We finally hit a point where people are going to think, well, I want to take advantage of this. I wasn't planning on selling, but I can make so much money. And this is how supply and demand works. We're seeing this long-term trend line here of an increase. We're up at $925,000 as our median price for the month in the combined market, and that pretty much stays right in line with this little bit of porpoising that we have going on here. But generally our trend is pretty clearly upward. If we take a quick look at the combined market with an eye towards our luxury segment, this is the top 10% sale. We are at $2.75 million for our 90th percentile sale. You'll recall that we had a big spike a few months ago when there was a large demand with a number of units sold. Over $1.5 million. In the spring, we had multiple months with over 25 sales of $1.5 million or more. We then took a bit of a breather and things became a little bit more normal. We're still creeping back up there. 20 sales over $1.5 million last month in North Kona and South Kohala. That's a pretty significant number because there were 73 sales overall. So that's still a high percentage, maybe even our highest percentage that we've had yet. And now taking a look at our combined condo market chart, this one is getting a little bit more erratic. And I think what's happening here is we have two vastly different types of condos. We have the residential condos, which are definitely appreciating because they represent the lowest price that someone can get into a home and live long term. And at the same time, in this market segment, we have those short-term vacation rental condos, which are seeing a massive spike. So we're having some kind of interesting numbers here with not quite as much consistency. We are definitely still down from the spring, just like with the residential market, but we're seeing a little bit more erratic behavior in terms of median price. We did hit an all-time high. $615,000 was the median price of a condominium in North Kona and South Kohala. That's $5,000 over the month before. And comparing all the way back to October of last year, when it was $425,000, you can see that we have a seriously robust market in the condo segment. There's been some other big real estate news coming down in the last couple of weeks. Zillow, which is a major player in the real estate advertising space, had dipped their toes into actually buying houses, fixing them up, and then going and selling them. They're calling this their iBuyer program. There are other companies out there doing the same thing with this iBuyer segment, and it gets a lot of attention in the media. It's really important to note that that represents about 1% of the total real estate market, and we really have yet to see these products come out here in Hawaii. In any case, Zillow has set their program up, and their idea was that their algorithm that does pricing, which is the Zestimate, which a lot of you are probably familiar with, would tell them where to buy homes and which homes to buy for what price. They then take this home, fix it up, put it back on the market, and sell it and make a profit. Well, as many real estate professionals have been telling their clients for over a decade now, the Zestimate is not very accurate, and Zillow found this out the hard way. They are upside down in 93% of the properties that they had in the Phoenix market, and they have shut down their entire iBuyer program, laid off 25% of their workforce, and had approximately 7,000 homes that they had to unload. They did do already one large block sale of 2,000 homes to an investment firm that specializes in becoming a landlord. The part that makes it really frustrating for me is that's 2,000 homes taken out of the American dream of home ownership for first-time buyers who might have been able to get a home and start building their wealth. Now those homes have been converted into long-term rentals, putting more people in the rental cycle and away from the path of home ownership. So in the end, I'm probably disappointed in what happened at Zillow. I'm disappointed for first-time home buyers and buyers across the nation. In a time right now when we have very, very limited supply, we've had our supply constricted even more by this experiment. My hope is that the other companies who are out there specializing in this sort of a program are at least successful enough to fix up a home and put it back on the market for regular consumers to buy, and not to sell it to institutional investors who are going to turn single-family homes into investment properties. So other things that happened, I just got back from the National Association of Realtors 2021 Conference and Expo in San Diego, California. Great town. It was a great time there. They put on a great event, a lot of educational series, and they also had a lot of changes on how realtors are doing their business, and some of them are going to be really good for the consumer. The biggest one out there is that from now on, starting January 1st, the amount of commission that a buyer's agent gets is going to be readily available to a prospective buyer. For years, realtors have been telling their buyer clients, my services are free, but at the end of the day, it's built into the purchase price, which is of course paid by the buyer. The new rules that are set up are going to add more transparency to the system, and I think it's really a good thing. The National Association of Realtors also published their generational market report, and this is something they put out every year. It has a lot of statistics in there about who is buying and the changes and shifts that happen in real estate. I'm going to have a video for that coming up in a couple weeks, so I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. But other stats that came out, 3 in particular, that talk about and really illustrate the changes that we've seen across the country in this amazing bull run that we've had for the last year and a half. Looking over the last decade, the median time that a seller stayed in their home has always been between 9 and 10 years. And it shifts just a little bit each year. Well, this past year, it made a big shift. It dropped all the way down to 8 years, and that's the lowest we've seen since 2010. And it dropped by a lot really quick. So this number could continue to go down as people change their buying habits. And we're seeing this a lot here in Hawaii. People are choosing to move now to a place that might have been a long-term goal. is really putting a strain on some of the more vacation, resort, destination type locations as people are fleeing the cities and going to the places that they love to spend some time. For the first time since NAR ever started tracking these numbers nationally, the average sales price was 100% of the list price. This tells you right here it's going to be tough to negotiate for anybody. And this is one of the reasons that we use the escalation addendums and other strategies that we've talked about in months in the past. It is just a hyper competitive market out there, a lot of buyers and not many sellers. And the final statistic that is really just an amazing one to me, the average time on market, days on market, absolutely plunged. It was really low in 2020 of 3 weeks, and now it's down to just 1 week on market. That's really incredible. If you can go back to 5, 6, even 10 years ago, people would list their properties, and sometimes it was 6, 9, 10, 12 months to sell a property. It was a long process. Right now, it is really easy to unlock the equity of your home, sell quick, and cash out. We're still not seeing a lot of people doing it yet, because the problem then becomes, where are you going to move to? And especially in a place like Hawaii, where you really have to make a major life decision to go somewhere else. And that's one of the reasons that we're seeing prices go up so much. This is just simple supply and demand. Hopefully we'll have some building soon, and I have some good news to report. There is a new development that is coming up in Kona that is going to offer single-family homes. Most of them are going to be a bit on the smaller side, on smaller lots. It's going to be a more high-density area on Ali'i Drive. I'm also going to have videos about that as it comes on down. It's getting final approval, and they're going to go to sales contracts here expected in the next few weeks. I'm going to have more details for that. If that's something that you're interested in being a part of, you're going to need to click like, you're going to need to click subscribe, ring the bell thing, and get notifications so that when I put out a video, you're going to be the first to know. Thanks for joining again. If you want to see some of the houses that are on the market now, take a look at the videos up here in the corner.